Hey, we're back. Check it out. How long was we gone? It's nine. It's 9:40 right about now. 9:40 something. I'm still out of coffee, but I did manage to pull out the kombucha. Making kombucha, two big jars, and right now about 8 bottles of kombucha sitting out waiting. They're getting fizzy. They're starting to get fizzy, so I think they're about ready to refrigerate. This one is a mix of some that was already refrigerated and the latest fizzy stuff. Fizzy stuff. Fizzy. Kombucha is cool. You can kind of mix it and it doesn't lose its fizz. Ah, that is good. Yeah, I'm making some good kombucha, I gotta say. Not hard to make. Just get a bottle of kombucha and as a starter, and live kombucha cultures, and you're good to go. Anyway, how you doing? How's it going today, everyone? I'm here to continue on with my hilarious Marlin tasks pile, never ending, and deciding at this point what to release. I think that I was waiting for another round of changes to come through for fixed time motion. You know, there is some stuff in the works right now that David's working on. David Buezas is the main person contributing to the integer refinements of fixed time motion. I think you're going to really like it. I just did a big print with fixed time motion, which is now holding up my green screen. The object I printed was... No, not that one. Hold on. I gotta get this thing working with the screen. Do I have to hide and show it or something? Things are being weird with my screens. Hold on. Whoop, whoop. Oh, come on. Wake up, screen. Let's try this. Sure, I got it all. Play capture VX2770. There we go. Alright. I paused OBS, and apparently if you stop and then restart, it sometimes gets a little confused. Aren't bugs. But yeah, I printed this thing. And it's holding my green screen up now. Great. I'm not using the green screen, but there it is. Well, actually, I guess I am, because as you look at the background removal now compared to what it was before, it's much cleaner. Go with that's a success. Calling that a success. You don't need much, you know, just make the background a little more consistent, and you're good to go. So, how's everybody doing? Checking my look here. All right, I guess I'm okay. I'm good to go. Having some long-standing dental issues, which I won't get into, but this is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to freelancing. If you're going to do a open source freelance kind of like begging online kind of thing, you have to be able to find good dental something somewhere somehow. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so this print worked out well. It's the little ribbon that holds the green screen up is exactly 50 millimeters, no problem. There maybe could have used a little more, maybe a little more area around it. And it's pretty easy to just slip this piece in and then have this other bit on top of your green screen mounting thing, whatever, hole. Fits on top. And works well. I like it. Okay, so glad that worked. Now let's move on. Back to the Marlin. So we are again. Side. And carry on. So there we go. Everybody's back in view. Okay, put that away. I don't know how many windows I keep open right now. A lot. Been doing a few things with Pico 8, which has been fun. Okay, kind of, you know me, I'm a coder who, although I do devote myself mostly to Marlin, I like to keep myself limber and do a little fun things along the way. And of course, building tools for Marlin is fun. There are lots of things I've built with it. But I've also been building a little Lua game using Pico 8. I think if I open Pico 8. Wow. Pico 8. A little, you've probably seen this before. I think I have things. So, yeah, you know, this was, you've probably seen some of you online if you're into chess and things like that, or just into games in general. You might have seen a thing called Chess Former, I guess has been around for a while, and then someone did a, on the Atari Bitbiters user club, ABBUC, they have a contest each year, and someone submitted a game that was sort of a clone of it. And I decided to do my own version in Pico 8. Pico 8 is pretty cool. It does give you exactly enough pixels to fit this game inside, which was like really surprising. Well, you know, plus a little area at the bottom and top for the title and stuff. But the playfield area is like exactly the width. So, it's kind of a limited thing, but it gives you that those limitations kind of are what make it cool. But Chess Former is just a game where you have a couple of chess pieces. You have to capture the other guy's piece, the king or whatever. You have only whatever pieces you given, and you have chess piece. But there's also gravity. So combine all those together, and you get a kind of a cool little puzzle game where you slowly learn the rules, and eventually they get harder. Oh, how am I going to get up there? I don't know. Kind of like figure it out as you go. No, how am I going to get up there? Pretty cool. So yeah, this was fun to build, and I put a little level editor into it as well. You can like restart the level if you fail. I also put a level selector in itself. It's not in, but yeah, there's like a level editor and stuff too. So if I wanted it. But this is posted online on my website. I could post a link to it in the description for you guys, just if you want to play around with it. Fun little game. And you could download it from there probably if you know your downloading techniques. It's a good one. Recommend. Let's see. I don't want to give away all the answers. I'll give away this one. And it tells you how many, you know, 8 is a perfect score on this particular level. If you get more than 8, it's not as good. You want to get as few moves as possible. So anyway, pretty cool. Pico 8 is fun for building stuff and uses Lua, and I've been thinking about using Lua for other things as well. Yeah, that's the saved screen. But you can arrange things in a cool way, like you can take, this is Fallen. Yeah, that's the actual game, and you can ignore the graphics part. Or no, that's the graphics. Yeah, these are the actual graphics of the game. Sorry, this is like our tile map, basically. So, usually when I load it up, I only see this part that says, but it basically just includes the parts you want. And if you do, you can do clever things like if I include the editor or the selector. If I include the selector, it adds it into the game basically makes it available. But yeah, the editor, it also makes that it changes the way the game builds. So it's kind of cool. You can use the includes as a way of having conditions if you arrange them right. Of course, I arrange them in front of Fallen.lua, side of Fallen, so all the code is inside of a subfolder. And so you can divide up your projects into more pieces. But yeah, this was a little bit of a slog, some of it, but the thing was I already had a chess game that I had written in Eco 8, so it was basically just a matter of adapting that to this new mechanic. But it wasn't really a chess game. All it did was let you move the pieces, and it checked like legal moves and showed you the moves that were legal. And it was just a little thing I built to kind of, that was the very first thing I think I made in Pico just to get used to programming Lua. And it didn't take long to get used to programming Lua. I mean, it's simple, very simple. You can do some fancy things with it once you get more sophisticated. Looked at Pico 8 games, some of them get like, 3D racers and stuff. Intense. I couldn't imagine delving in that deeply, but I also think I ran out of space, so I know there's got to be tricks for being able to do stuff like that where you probably need a lot more space than I use for my little C game. Some good kombucha, you gotta say. I might have to take a break if I have too much of that. So where were we with this? At the moment, I was having some trouble with building today. I don't know why, but I would have to build like 10 times to get. I don't know if it's my tool chain or what. Do I need to reboot? I'm just having bad luck. Is it because I have LM Studio open? What's going on? Because Marlin is mad at me. Spirits of Marlin. I've been project too much. Who's mad at me? Let's figure it out. So let's put away OpenSCAD. I got my thing printed. It's working well. My first test of Marlin today, the very latest bug fix version, was positive. I did have a little bit of grinding in the E-axis when it first went timing line, and I don't know, I've seen that a little bit before where it's like, but I don't know if that's coming from the machine or from like because of something firmware. I had I had fixed time motion turned on for that. So good question. Anyway, I don't know if you prefer when I'm working with Marlin to look at this ugly editor, my other ugly editor. I tend to use Sublime. And I have to say, in general, like, I look at this, gosh, so much of it is comments, isn't it? That green in this whole area up here, all that green you see, it's like, that's just so much comments. But pick something that's actually code. Source code, hey, the main code. And there you go, that's more like it. It's a little more robust. You can see that we have, look at the mini-map. Pretty good structure. In this main code, there's a bit in the middle here for check buttons. This could be in some UI area instead, I think. But yeah, I could see something. The thing I've got to think about more later. Got this whole, got all these plans already in place for refactoring, and some of them are very simple. I just did one small one where I moved. Created a class in the motion.cpp and motion.h files. It now is a class. Motion.name. So, object singleton. So everything's wrapped in a motion singleton now there. Simple stuff like that. I mean, I envy these guys who are like looking at in the Clipper land where you get to work at a higher level. We've got a lot to do with this sort of like really reworking this code base into a more, whereas if we had started over a few years ago, like scratch, something. It wouldn't be Clipper, of course, but I think it would be more modular, and we're already modular, but it's kind of modular in the sense that everything is one model style and something to get used to. When you come to the code base, you have to really be ready to deal with some old cruftiness. Some of it is built around like the card reader, a sort of does the job for what we need it to do, but it feels a little clunky. How do you have a browsable file system with a current working directory, and it only really exists when you're in the... We basically create a little pocket universe so that we actually allow a little bit memory allocation of one big buffer or one contiguous buffer for storage of data during that, and then it all as soon as you leave that area. So the idea being that if you did, it would always be in the UI area, not in another part. You don't do. There's no possibility of, there may be a possibility of fragmenting something rotten, but as I understand it, once you deallocate, there's a static process where it'll join all the blocks together again. But I don't really. They're always the same size, so that's part of it. Anyway, it's not going to be a destabilizing aspect of the code going forward. I would like to use a newer version of an SD file system. So we could explore that as an alternative version, basically. Rip out the guts of our SD flash drive handle. Really re-examine that. That's a whole area. Complicated. I don't really want to get too into it. Certainly not today. Today, where I'm doing very basic housekeeping. I created a feature, and I need to called sensorless homing test menu items, where in the screen where in the menu where you have the items for editing sensitivity of homing with dynamic steppers, it gives homing options in that menu. So it's a simple, helpful thing to have when you're doing this stuff. Although it won't be there by default. So again, it's like stuff like this is there for me. I find it useful, and I may add it later to someone out to the public configuration for, say, BQs. I've also been like changing menu titles to suit myself, and not necessarily those, but that's something anybody can do. If you want to, you can change titles to look nicer if you like them. In this case, the word was compensation method or I forget, but I'm like, I want to call it input shaper instead of comp. And so I did. All right, moving on. Let's see. So I have to just end that. This is the part I want to do next. Let's find this string here. At end if. Yeah, this is how I actually do this sometimes. And in the configurations, place those with this comment again. Stuff. A little tricky. There we go. There. Okay, so let's see, that's gonna look like that. If I replace them all. See if I'm good. Normally I would exclude the default because I already did. But in this case, it's not going to matter. we should be good. So we'll do some results. It takes a minute. There we go. Very fast in that particular editor. The reason I use Visual Studio Code to do search and replace, dear readers, dear viewers, dear coders, is because it's faster than Sublime. Sublime, for some reason, sometimes to do hundreds of files, whereas VS Code is remarkably quick. Previously, there was Atom. Anybody used Atom? Very bad at doing any kind of search and replace with multiple, or I should say multiple lines, yeah. With anything with a new line in it, it couldn't do across multiple files. Within a single file, maybe, but not files. So that just completely made it unusable. I need search and replace to work the same, whether I'm looking at one file or 100 files. I want to be able to use exactly the same syntax and regular expressions, whatever else. So I was a little surprised by that. And it was because I think it was doing the search and replace on one line at a time. It didn't actually files. I just implement it. Get a different kind of search. I don't care. So I think I have this sorted. I did put in because I'm not going to be making a pull request. This is going straight in. This feature. It's called sensorless homing. And see what it does. At least maybe in the simulator. No, because we don't have Trinamic simulated. Oh, look. You can tell when the machine is working because the little animation overhead will suddenly stop. Maybe that's just OBS in general. Let me go back to my... I got a few projects on deck here. I seem to always have a pile, and I've just decided to like not try to sweat it too. I'm gonna die someday, and there's gonna just be a pile of things I have started the way it's gonna be, and so this is the one thing I'd added, and all it does is just after each of your XX2, you get a little thing. Then there's also a disable steppers. I didn't put save settings there. In the future, one of the things for after 2.1.3 is going to be allow it to have autosave on all kinds of things for different things. When you edit them, will automatically save. But I have to split up the EEPROM into more parts. That's one of them. Let me know if there's any kind of issue with the stream. I may check it myself. Just noticing certain things that there's a bit of a stutter. But I gotta say, generally, pretty good. Why do I have headphones on? I don't know. Nobody's here talking to me at the moment, but they're on just in case. I briefly visited X and I briefly visited. So, there's so much hype right now. So much hype. But also, Professor Dave put out a really great video. Hey, check it out. Talking about effectively anti-intellectualism. You know, not a game, folks. You know, like it's used against us, so don't play along. That's all I can say. Don't pretend. Don't play the pretend game. Don't. When the gaslighting starts, don't join the gaslighters in the gaslighting. You know, do something else. Go back to the woods. Turn off the thing. You know, don't get pandered to. Don't get pulled in. You know, the oil companies and such. They don't need our help. To be their cheerleaders or their defenders or to run interference for them. They're doing fine on their own. They got all kinds of little projects going to do that, and it's working. So really, what we need is more. You know, who needs more help is the quiet ones. Those interesting, peaceful, great creators of content and weird stuff like I'm doing. We're like just basically just trying to live the life we were promised, man, where we could just work on our creative stuff and take part and enjoy it, the progress of technology goes forward. Celebrate it. Not see it immediately exploited for various purposes. I'm doing my best to not to use the stuff non-nefariously, and really just to spread it for its own sake. You know, making cool code is fun because it's fun to make cool, not for any other reason. Make piles of cash, not to blow up your enemies, not to own the other guy or whatever. It's to make things that work, that fit your workflow. I don't know. There's a lot to it. You know how I feel when it comes to all this noise. And those who join in, I guess there's like a Maha to go with a Maga now, which is basically, again, it's the opposite of what it's in that, you know, funny place now. But what was I doing? Oh, right, I was looking up something so that I could get my stuff together. Just trying to check Twitch to make sure that my stream was not stuttering. The one thing that's stuttering is me. Hold on a minute. Reach. Where did I put Twitch anyway? Should be on the front screen now. Purple Twitch, where are thou? Huh. I guess I just haven't been using it enough. Oh, there it is. Haven't been using it enough. I forgot it was purple. Okay, me, mine. Who's live?
Please.
No, I'm not interested in that other guy's channel. Hold on. Me. Oh, there I am. IR live. This is so meta. You and me, we're here together. Okay, so everything looks good. I'll just keep an eye on that. Guess I'll mute. I just want to make sure. Of course, it's probably going to show me ads even. And the chat is, you know, chat is what it is. Which is to say, empty. Desert. Alright. I'll put this up here, I guess. Oh, wait, no, over here will work. There we go. There we go. How's everybody doing tonight? Friday again. Can't believe it. What does that mean for you and me? I don't know. Maybe you're having a nice night off after a long week of work. As for me, I'm just starting to catch up. So let's get going. Take a look at what's in the file. So I know I just fixed up a Skara thing. Basically like a rework of the MP Skara and Morgan Skara to sort of standardize them a little bit. Oh, the other thing is I got to make sure if I'm using bug fix. Okay. Rebase before we go up. Pardon me. Whilst I get rebase everything. Alright. Trying to make sure I got it. So, it's pretty straightforward. I can go. No fanfare. It just is or isn't. Oh, I forgot this part. Tune sensorless. Yeah, that's a future thing. I should probably remove that part until it's... Save that for later. Alright, off you go. Sorry to anyone who downloaded bug fix in that one moment. You're out of sync now. But don't worry, it was just comments. Okay, next. Part cooling fan abstraction. Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So, whenever I see Ellen's P, I'm interested. It's usually well thought out. See classic rocker. Might take a while. Let's see. I really should go back to the oldest one. See where I am 5 days ago. Yep. So I have a little bit of a method here. I would like if this terminal, I don't know if others do, but if I could change the text size without it modifying the size of the width. It's a terminal thing. Something terminal likes to do. What are we gonna do? Alright. Moving on. So yeah, I just occasionally like to keep these old, very old, incomplete pull requests up to date. Just if I don't, they'll fall way too behind, and then it'll be much harder to keep them up to date. So I can do it for mine. I can sometimes do this for others. Pull requests as well, to keep them fresh while they're still being debugged. That particular one, the CR6SE, that's kind of my fault because I gave away my printer before I really had it working, and I was like, well, he'll help me out, and it never really got that collaboration happening. Because I don't know why, just busy lives, I guess. See, these Electron apps, they can zoom no problem without changing size. I may just switch to like Ghosty or something like that. No, I do have it. There it is, and it's time to install an update 130. Here, go ahead. Install me an update. Ghosty. I've mainly been using it for the 6502 Kitty Diffusion stuff. Again, speaking of side projects, one of the things I learned was that you could show images in the terminal. I thought, well, that could be very useful. I've got a dock tile extension. Cool. So I made this thing where you can imagine an image, and it calls Comfy UI if it happens to be open. So if I like were to run Comfy UI, and I don't know if you Mac users ever get into this kind of stuff a lot, but I highly recommend that if you have a lot of little AI tools that you're downloading and you're installing them with Python or whatever, or Conda or whatever, after you've opened them up in Safari, say you opened up Comfy UI in Safari, in Safari you can do something like add to dock. Adding to dock creates an application from the web page, so when you run, so you can then like open up whatever it might be. In this case, I made one for UI, and it'll remember the port number and all that. So you can just open it up as an application, and then but you may need to run Comfy UI in the terminal first before you run the application. So in order to run something in the terminal, that you can use what's called a .command file. .command file would be, I can, it's not that way. Where's a new Finder window? But give you an example here. So here we have a bunch of things I have installed that are just throwing them all in an AI folder. So I have like Ace Step, I have Agent Zero, I have AudioCraft, I have UE, again, I have some text-to-speech Chatterbox and Vibe Voice. YUE is similar to Ace Step, although it's not as good as Ace Step, I would say. Similar idea, though. You can generate sound effects and things. Ace Step is more for music and tracks and full production kind of stuff, which, again, if you want that neutral, train it later kind of thing. Yeah, sorry, Stream Boo, you're out of here. I don't know why they keep doing that. They keep invading my little nobody watching streams to try and post about their Streambot site. So anyway, Ace Step, we played with that. But anyway, so I've got a bunch of these, Agent Zero, a few others. Some of these run in different ways, but Kitty Diffusion was a little project I did to take advantage of the fact that you could have the terminal show images, so that if I want, whenever I'm using Ghosty, I can just say imagine something, and I can pass a few. I can say imagine, and I tell it which workflow I want to use. So in this case, I have workflows saved where the parameters are in one JSON blob, and then the actual workflow is in another JSON blob, so it knows how to map. Like if I say ratio or size or whatever, it knows where to put those values. And then my script does some things like, of course, there's no ratio you can pass to Comfy UI in this case. But it figures out like, oh, the size of the image that you're passing, and then it figures out the ratio of that size and tries to fit it in appropriately based on the total number of pixels. And generally speaking, this works really well to produce images of different ratios. So, and then what it does is it calls Comfy UI and just, through the what's it called, the endpoint. Getting used to these words, through the endpoint, and then it waits for the image to come through. And Comfy UI, in the meanwhile, is in terminal. You can see that here it is, and we're waiting for it to see it receive that. Did it receive that? And finally did receive the request, I guess. And now it's actually generating the image, so it takes a little while for it to spin up the model the first time. But I'll use Kitty Diffusion for that because, or I should say Ghosty. Because once the image is generated, it can just show it right in the terminal. And then the other thing is, if I'm using my AI assistant that I'm working on, which is just a little, toy thing for playing around with calling LLMs and asking them to do different things and take on different roles within a simplified interface where it's all terminal. All typing. There's no menus or anything. Except when you go to like reload an old chat, it'll show you the list and ask you. But other than that, the idea there is just to have an interface where it isn't just, there's no distractions of other button around, like the whole point of using the CLI in the first place really is just to have that focus and tools that you want to be able to pipe them together and other tricks. But there we go. So I got an image out, and check it out. It displays right inside the terminal. And this particular ghosty is nice because you can make the window and it keeps the image from splattering. If you use something else like iTerm, which has a different image protocols that it supports, it looks a little weird because it breaks up on lines and gets all stripey. It's really funny looking. But anyway, this is pretty cool. So I've been really having fun with little side projects like this, sort of getting used to talking to image diffusers, getting used to talking to LLMs, and just having building tools in that are available in different spaces. So if I'm in the terminal and I want to generate an image without going flying off whatever somewhere else, one of the things I probably ought to do is have it check the in my image script, it should check to see if Comfy UI is running first and then start it if necessary, and then probably kill it when it's done or something, because these things use a lot of memory, and I don't want to see my swap filling up. Meanwhile, all right, let's go to some real work. See what's actually in the pile that looks like important scripts of various kinds. Let's see. One was migrate all scripts to Python 3. It's not that important. Most of our scripts are being run just as a matter of CI, but yeah, I can see that. It's full. But I'm thinking of things that will be important for 2.1.3 to be able to say, okay, this is, ready. There's some sanity checks that couldn't hurt. We could look at that. The refactoring of UBL, and I'm good with refactoring sometimes. Let's take a look at it. If it's still pretty cool. I believe I looked at it and I was okay with it. It's been a while since I've revisited it. All right, let's go and let's call that Spring Bug Fix in, merge that, fix the conflicts, make sure it's ready to go. Never hurts to do a merge before going off and assuming that I can merge it in. So this is if may move, handle homing, and setup. So this looks like this got moved, but something new came in. So let's see. Probably my motion stuff. Yeah, axes should home. What's going on there? So let me guess. Yep. Sure enough. See, I know what I'm talking about. Anything else? It looks about the same to me. But that also implies that something else might have changed here. No, I guess that's right. This is going away, but it got altered as well. And yes, probing tool is there. So, moving on. Then we have this little bit where bigger block. And if Q handle test patterns. Okay, so this is new. Maybe. Or the same, I should say. This thing coming in is from bug fix, right? Right, position head horizontally and deprobe vertically. Boy, that sounds weird, doesn't it? What does that even mean? But I assume it's another situation where motion, yeah. That's what's going on there. Let's see anything else going on. Nope, I think, oh, and blocking move, yeah. So down here. That, yeah, we are getting some stuttering, aren't we? Well, okay, that's annoying. Let me see where that's coming. Gotta be something. Where's the slicer? You're out of here. Don't need to be running you right now. Anything else could be causing issues? Probably not preview, but VS Code. We don't need you right now. Lime text. We love you. We need you. I'm gonna keep you. Ghosty. I think we're done with Ghosty though. We'll toss it. And let me just double check my studio. Quit LM Studio. Will that help? Probably not. I'm using 3 monitors and maybe that has some bearing on here. I do apologize for the stutteriness. Let's see, Sublime Text is using 3 gigs, but everything else is pretty tame. I don't know. Keep an eye on that. So where were I? Oh right, blocking move, safe position. Make sure that's correct. Yes. Okay. Meanwhile, oh, there's more. There's more, guys. There's more. There's also this stuff. Nope. I think it's separate. Fascinating. So we did that part. What else did we gather? This all went away. Well, we'll certainly see when we submit it. There we go. All right. So next, this is new stuff. Handle phase operations, handle post-processing, cleanup. And this is code that's coming from bug fix that was modified. And again, we're looking for this kind of stuff. Motion blocking, move XY. Yeah. Motion report position, all right. Oops. And what? Then, yeah, and again, I do think this is correct. I'm just that got modified in code that got relocated, basically, is what's going on here. Sometimes it's hard to tell in conflict resolution exactly what the heck is going on. But so effectively, if I just look for motion, this, again, I already saw that. I did, I swear. We already did that part. No, we did that. Next motion is just below it in instance 2. Let's see. Motion do Z clearance. Yeah, that's what it is. Do Z clearance. Then motion. Can reach. That's still in the block. Yes. We took care of that. Nothing there. We took care of that one. We took care of that one. Here, that's all of them. Bad idea. Oh no, wait. We took care of that. Took care of that. RAM parser. Can reach. Ah, there we go. See. Yep. Motion can reach. Then, report position. Right. There it is, all set. Okay. And oof, this is a large area, bunch of stuff to check. One of the big issues with doing a refactor, you always end up with a little bit of challenge with old pull requests if you don't keep them up to date at the same time. Fortunately, this is not a hard one. Just moving a few names. All right, I think that covers it. And I guess we'll find out. I'm just double checking motion report position. I'm looking for anything that looks like it was missable. And I don't see anything that was missable. Where'd we go? I don't need these. They just keep me inside my... Might cause me to raise my voice too, who knows. Moving on. We've got 2. We've got bed probe. Okay, I feel good about this. Again, care and feeding of the existing code is all well and good, but we know we can make this better. Probe deployed. Who used that? I don't know. Local. Can't really tell. Merging. Alright. So the merge is done. Upload the 61 changes, and then we'll quickly review it on the website. Put away my OpenSCAD. So, here are the reviews. So much pain. So one way to see, I guess I can't really do it where I look at it before the merge. It would be kind of interesting if I could look at it before the merge. Maybe there's a way. Looking at the thing now, like this is the merge as it existed before would be, grab that. Yeah, and save some, that's the cool thing, it saves some stuff on AVR. Yeah, baby. So that's good. Like that. Okay, anything else? Oh, right, I wanted to look at the previous. You can do like a git diff kind of thing. To the old one, apply it. What'll happen is, of course, it'll not by a magic key. Oh wait, apply. The big git apply. And the one thing I wanted to, the one file I want for all of that. There's really only one file I want to look at, but that was UVLG29. Thank you very much. And that is feature level, UBL. Oh, modules, pins. Skipped it, didn't I? Feature, bed level, UBL. There it is. So yeah, you can see all the changes are going to be like this. We're going back to the old refactor. Right. So this is one good way to validate that I did the right thing with the thing I just did. It's like everything I see should look like this, or should look like this, where it doesn't have this DWin LCD Pro UI stuff in it, which was also pretty recent. But skipping that, yep, used to be, now it's motion dots, motion position. That changed a little. Became potentially variable. Mesh sizes are going to be easier to change going forward as we modify some things. And it's already possible to change the bounds of a mesh with bilinear, which is my preferred leveling method because I helped make it. And also because it's meant to be like one step basically, like you don't have to figure out, say you don't have to do manual probing of any as part of the process. It just probes what it can probe and then assumes the area just outside will be generally where the last area could reach was, but which is usually a fairly safe assumption, and also most of the time you're not in bed. But when you are, I know that you want to have something where the entire better ways to do that. But wherever the probe can reach, basically what auto bed leveling by linear is about. So then I did this. I don't know. Okay. I did change it from a macro to a method in motion. As I'm just checking here. Right, has bed probe is either probe offset or position thing. So yeah, some things changed, but overall, that's the part I care about. Okay, it looks good to me. And same stuff here, motion versus. Anyway, the CI checks, the continuous integration checks, will give us a clue as to whether it's anything. And it looks like we did. Take a look. Well, CI tests are having weird issues. Oh, there it is. Touch repeat first delay. Oh, wait. I think that was something I forgot. No, I did not mean to. I did. Go back to my rover. Fast repeat decrement, that as well. Throw that in there. Oop. And use delay equals current control delay or first delay. Yeah, okay, so this is the thing where I'm working delay mechanism. Keep those available. Come back to this later. Yeah, the idea being that I want touch to work better. It sucks. Certain. So I've been meaning to fix them. the thing. That's always the thing. If I use Marlin more things that I want to fix, that's good for everyone. So more excuses to print things, please. Let's see. So earlier I did this touch code formatting thing. Screwed up. Those are all fine. 15 repeat delay, 100 repeat delay, 25. UBL 125, 32. Where did I screw up here? Just looking for that define that wasn't there before. Let's do it this way. Hide white space changes so that you can see only the parts that sort of matter. So yeah, I moved the logic for this up here. I outdented stuff down here. There is a thing called touch repeat delay at that time. I guess it's touch repeat first delay. And both touch repeat and minimum hold time. It's called. So that's the part I forgot, was to give it that value. And then I'm not sure I wanted to do all of the hold control. Yeah, I'm seeing some things I want to do. Didn't mean to do all of this necessarily. I thought I had them separated where I had some cleanup. And then I had some other stuff. Minimum hold time is now still 15. For ignoring a short accidental touch. That's still there. No touches occurring, then reset all touch info. In other words, wait for minimum hold time. That used to be repeat delay, it looks like. And I think that was the reason I did minimum hold time on. Yeah. We'll get that number. Put that in there. Okay, and I do apologize. I'll make better annoying AI generated music in the future. Alright, bring this up. We are even gonna be part of the thing in a moment. More kombucha time. I make good kombucha with a lot of ginger. A lot of ginger. I want it to be like beyond ginger beer. Really, I don't know. I didn't put enough in this time by my own record. I was lazy. I did not want to squeeze out the ginger yet another. But I really should squeeze out the time as much as you can until nothing else comes out. Then boil that down. Then add that. Because yeah, the more ginger the better. That's what I say. All right, let's take a look. We got. I don't know what happened the other day. I had some kind of weird enlightenment experience. Feeling really good ever since. I really sort of something swept over me and let go of a lot of weighing me down and making me trust. Maybe it was just, something. I don't know. But been trying to, feed the soul, keep it happy, and continually occupied with useful stuff. But also, that's one. But then, also I have to take some time and work on code as I show you my little side projects, just so I have something that I know will get finished. There'll be an end to it, and I have complete and creative control. No one else is wondering whether it's going to be done or questions about indentation. It's all my own mess, and I need more of those kinds of messes. We all need a little mess of our own once in a while. So I'm just looking this over now to see if I broke anything. Removed anything by mistake last pass, and I guess we did do the difference. Pretty good. We just have to hope that we got all of them. In case anything new came in that missed, I'm not skip ahead and not merge this, or merge this before it passes. See, meanwhile, test. So yeah, that's part of the process. So let's go move on. I assume that I'll be from my local copy and on to the next interesting pull request. And one of the things that has been worked on, planner. Someone will have to check it out. Give me feedback. What you think of the idea and it's implemented. One of the things we have is don't trigger baby stepping on double click. It's an old thing. Encoder moved. Oh, I see. This is one of those tricks where if you press the encoder and it slides over at the same time, weird things happen. And so it does require an extra 32-bit to double check this on every encoder thing, but it's the... Let me see, what do you think about this? On status screen, double click expired, double click encoder position equals position, screen equals status screen, and encoder position equals double click. So yeah, basically that's pretty simple. I would even say we could use just the low 8 of double click encoder. I'm just trying to save some memory. Dumb thing to do, but RAM basically. Like, did we have to use now as a at it? All right, on status screen. Sort of the way I prefer to lay things out is with the ampersands. Let's see. This sort of thing. You can remove any one of them, including the last one. Not the first one though. Get that, sorry. But the rest. So we can do that. That's fine. So here we are, where if the screen is menu main, that you're trying to go to. Else, if it's the status screen and you're on ready and double click has not expired and you're in the same position that you were, see if the rationale particular it is related. Again, did I miss something? Damn it! Get now. Hold. Yeah, I forgot. Back. That got distracted. So, to 28299. Right. 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 Sure this bloody well works before I send it off with my previous screw up. Let's see. Fast beat decrement. All good. Right. Touch repeat first delay is not really needed then. Therefore, the idea was being that you would treat it like a keyboard where you press a key, you hold it. The first time you press it, there's a long delay before it repeats. But then once it begins repeating, there's a short delay between those repeats. That's what and it's going to be better. Single, either fast or slow. You have one or the other. We're gonna have both. Because you gotta have both. That's just the right way to do it. It has for a long time. I half expect folks who make UIs today to just do it. But a lot of this stuff is submitted to us from that communication. And I don't know why they miss these things. Maybe they're just rushing and they have to test it. Refined it after testing. But that's me. It's down to me, you know. It all comes down to me. Buck stops here. Stops here at Thinkyhead. Oh, I could use more of that kombucha with more ice. It's getting warm. All well and good, but it's okay. So let's wait for that. Meanwhile, I was going to review the other. Did I sort that out just now? Oh, I did. Okay, so let's move on and go back to other one with the encoder situation. Take a look and get the rationale. Do with things slipping. That triggers Z baby stepping when I move my preheat menu items to the main menu, and selecting it triggers Z baby step because clicking it also makes it back to the screen. I see what you're saying. So that's interesting. I don't know why it would not clear like the the flag, like other each time you move the encoder, it will clear the flag that specifies double click fire. Move the encoder, that would basically become 0. Let's see what that is. So if you've done a click, basically, when does this actually get set? It gets set when you're on the status screen and you enter the menu. Okay, encoder position. And I see one reason is it's not easily accessible because it's static inside here. And I don't necessarily want to have to go and like, it should be clearing a flag every time you move the encoder. I'm going to call this first click encoder position. Or maybe encoder position. There's also a thing where like if you're believe that, let's see, I know when you enter the menu it should all automatically be at the top. But really it should be 0. What if I check that it has, would that make sense? Isn't it always going to be 0 because you're at the top? The way the encoder position works is that we increment the encoder position based on, you know, détentes or whatever you're set. Like you have steps per click or whatever. It'll take 2 steps before it'll make this particular encoder position go up or down. And you're at the, whenever you enter a menu, you're at the top of the menu from the status screen, and therefore it should just be, I think it should be just 0. Unless I'm mistaken. I believe. I'm completely mistaken. Well, if the encoder position needs to be 0, then that's one less thing we have. One less expensive check we have to do. And it's also like you do the cheapest check you have to do first. Encoder position is 32 bits, even on AVR. I do believe. Yeah, it's 32 bits always, so not necessarily the cheapest always to check, but probably cheaper than checking. So, okay. Huh. Well, I guess I'll do that. It's nicer to do. And certainly, I don't know, maybe it'll make some air. Did I get that right? Yes. Okay, well, what do you say we... Oh, wait. What else happens here? It's inside of something else it is. Just checking. I'm pretty sure that that would do the trick, David. You just double check. Yeah, I'm doing the force push. Okay, here we go. Whoop. Know how to spell. Oh yeah. And off we go. CD. Improve. Yeah, checking for 0 is better because it's cheaper store. So if that turns out to be the case, then screen is status screen, current screen is menu, main encoder position is 0, and menu. Cool. Sometimes I think, and you may agree, that it's better to put like values in reverse like this. Or like this. Just to, sometimes those things work out better for certain situations. Sometimes they just make more sense semantic. That's what we're all about here in Marlin Codebase, is making up our own semantics, if nothing else. If nothing else, we like our semantics. Okay, so we'll come back to that. So as you can see, the kinds of things that are being generally submitted, they're refinements. They're at a point of crisis where things broken, fixed deep down with the motion system. I mean, I just did a great print with the new motion system, which, you know, probably not perfect, but it's damn good, really good, and I'm having a good time with it. I was going to do some, I want to wait until it's more daylight, outer, getting kind of towards the later part. I like to wind down. It gets later, even if I'm total schedule. It's just the way I am. What I'm going to do with the rest of my evening. This, probably work on a few of these. And then maybe do a little work on Sublime plugins. I'm interested in exploring that more now that I've gotten more familiar with the plugin. What can I do with calling LLM? Using or leveraging Sublime as a kind of a nice, convenient window editing and stuff. Using it as a, you know, when you're in the editor and you can just hit the key and have it take the texture, something with it, run it or whatever. It's very convenient. It's very nice. I do want to be able to run stuff like not necessarily inside the little terminal in Sublime, but in the side-by-side window with it while I'm doing stuff. And now that I know how to more quickly like build commands, and I've gotten more comfortable with Python in general, just seeing all the tools that come through are basically, they're Python based. So a big gateway there between that editor and stuff. It runs, I believe, 3.3 under the hood in Sublime Text 3. Sublime Text 4 might use version. But you can do a lot with Python 3.3, and I can certainly call through to all the tools. Oh, I got sidetracked again, but yeah, I was mentioning how I had made scripts for running things. So here's a perfect example of, maybe it's not what you would use, but say I want to start a step foundation model for music generation. So I made this little file, astep.command. And I have a little thing to set up the environment in Ghosty, which, because it doesn't run command files, or it didn't a while ago, may now. But when it didn't get the proper shell environments. I set it up to do that. And then, but here's what you would normally do. If you're using, say, terminal, you first go to the directory where your project or run is. And I'm using Conda. So for one reason or another, I have to run this here in my, and I think it's because I don't necessarily get the environment that contains that either. That, I think it's for login environments, or I don't know. So I always put things in Z profile that probably should go in ZSHRC and vice versa. So for one reason or another, I do need this to get Conda hooked up. Once it is, then I can use it to activate the A step environment, which I created when I installed this, and then I just have it wait long enough for it to start, and then I open up the application A step that I created using Safari add to dock. Got an application called A steps. Open dash A means open application to A step. So it does that, and then I also have it like sleep in the background while it's doing this little thing, or I should say it does this in the background. So it actually starts A step itself, which is like, it's got a Gradio interface and stuff. So, and then once second is passed, it will then open the application interface. Probably should give it more like 2 or 3 seconds. It takes a couple of seconds for it to wake up, but you just, once you've created one of these, you don't have to make it executable or anything. You double click it and open up the terminal, and boom, runs your command. As you see, it's opening up the A-step application. Load the Gradio interface. Of course, because I didn't wait long enough, but there it is. There's a Gradio interface, and you're ready to go. So, and it's inside of its own application and everything, so I can, put it from here and do other tricks. So pretty neat. And you can do that with any of these apps that have a little front end on them. So using OpenWebUI, there's one where I open both OpenWebUI and Comfy UI. And I kind of spread out. I've got other scripts that this calls, like Comfy UI, no Google. But the general idea is that same idea. Ghosty, start Comfy UI in a new terminal. So it opens in a terminal and WebUI, which is OpenWebUI is pretty cool. And that's just another command file that it opens up. And so here's OpenWebUI, boom. And as you can see, again, Conda, activate the thing. Then I just do a quick, make sure it's updated. So I always update when I run it. And it only takes a second to check. It needs the update. It's always better to get the update. It'll nag you if you don't. So why not get the latest one? I haven't run this in a while, so it's probably due for an update. And then it runs, starts the server. And again, in this case, it takes a while. So I sleep for 8 seconds before I open up the web UI. But you'll notice I'm doing that before I start the thing. So it's this happens in the background. I could do it right after. Doing it, well, actually, say that. If you do this, then you can't do this. Like, this will not happen. Because this blocks until it exits OpenWebUI. So when you want to have it like wait a little while after it started this, before it does this, you have to do it before you do. Anyway, one of those things good to know. But yeah, so on the Mac at least, it's easy to do this, and also on Linux, it's very easy to make desktop shortcuts that do a similar thing, and even skip the terminal altogether. I would prefer to skip the terminal. And I know there is a way to do that. I believe also another option that you do something like this. So here we have an app called Atari 800 Basic, but check it out. What's it actually got going inside? It's a command file. Another one of those scripts. And all it is here it is, the command itself. Starts Atari 800. So you can see all it's really doing is just running a shell script, effectively. Which, and Atari 800 has its own Windows stuff, so it does all that. It passes all the different parameters that are whatever inside of it, and it also brings in user data from somewhere. In this case, there, system data. So this was when installed. It knew, installed by Brew or Mac ports, so it set up specific location. Always going to, it's always going to put things here. It's always going to put this is Mac ports standard. So pretty cool. And then so the only other thing you have to do is inside of your little app, you have an icon, which is great. You can make those pretty easily. I have a script for that. Bullwhip. I made a little script that goes with Bullwhip for that. And inside of this, you just have to fill in the bundle info about the app. And it actually is not really running an app. It's running a shell command. So I could really set up something like this to run these things. It would be faceless. Run as if it had just its own window and it's in the background that I can see. So I can't like look at its. Most of the time I don't care. For some things like Invoke AI, I kind of do want to see the messages because it's oftentimes telling me that my install is broken or something. So sometimes it's good to see that stuff. But once you have it working and set up, you can actually make a little app bundle that fakes being an application, but is actually a script in the terminal. So that's a good trick. And I don't know if you needed anything else special in there at the start command. Because it's a command, it knows that it's supposed to terminal. I guess it knows it's faceless. Because it's inside of this, and maybe there's something at OP list where you can tell it to show itself, but I'm not seeing anything. So, good trick for you Mac people. Also a great way to do things effectively like you do on Linux. But it has of course, like because it's Mac, it has a couple extra steps. You have to have this folder structure of the plist, but it's typical of on Linux. You might just have a text file that does the same thing, or it would be packaged as a zip file with a different extension on it. It's actually so yeah, pretty cool trick there. Anything else? I don't think I'm using that for any of these at the moment, but same idea. Run open web UI goes with these. This is a script .sh file, I believe. Oh no, it's actually this was my experiment. Yeah, this was my experiment in trying to do just that. I made a contents folder. I made a macOS start command. I gave it no icon, but I filled all these in. Run open web UI, so it has all the right things, including boom. Does the conda and everything. And then what happens if I run it? Does it actually run Open Web UI? Let's take a look. I don't remember if I got it working. Maybe it doesn't. And anything happen? I think it's broken. So I still have yet to make that particular one. But oh wait, I opened a log file. Not provided as environment variable. Oh, it did work. Holy crap, what do you know? Okay, well, I've got that working. So yeah, again, that's a trick you can use if you want to open up your apps, your funky backend apps in a different way. You can do it in this manner. I guess I have to reload. Not showing the interface yet. And it may be that it actually failed to open the backend part, which is so it could very well be that this didn't quite. So I'll have to. But delete the log file. Yeah, we'll come back to that some other time. But that's a cool trick for you Mac folk, and probably Linux folk can borrow some of the same ideas. As I'd say, generally speaking, if you can make a shortcut on the desktop to do stuff, do it. Do it that way. Clutter your desktop with all the shortcuts of the things you're using right now. If you look around my pile of projects at the moment, it's ridiculous how many different things there are in different places that are like half finished, gotta say. Anyway, come back to Petsky stuff later. This right now. Stable diffusion, always fun. I mainly just spend my time organizing models. Another good thing you should know about is rfind, which is a way of find duplicate files that are similar in especially large ones, and it'll combine them into one file, save you immense amounts of space on your drives. Really good if you're using models right now, and you're say you've got a 4 gig, or I should say, you got a 4 terabyte drive, and it's getting dangerously down to like less than a terabyte, and you think, gosh, how can I clear it off? Look at all these models. I would not be surprised if you could run rfind totally, or rdfind, say rdfind, and clear things off. You run rdfind on 2 folders basically. It'll just look in both of them, find the models that are the files that are the same. The one, it'll make them so that they only take up the space of the one. And as long as you don't modify them, those files, you're good. Like contents, I should say. That's the funny thing. Like you can have like file that's like 3 terabytes, and then another file that's like, I should say 3 terabytes. I don't know if you have files that large, but say you have a file that's like, whatever, 500 gigs, giant file, and then you make a duplicate of it, and it's like taking up no space on your drive. But then you modify 1 byte somewhere in the middle of one of those files, and you go to save it. Suddenly you have to the machine has to duplicate the whole bloody thing. And so there's probably some weird instance where you'll see that happen, and people, why did that happen? 1 byte takes all this? What's it's like, oh no, my friend. It would have been 1 byte if it had been one of those big linked files. Okay, so I think we're still stuck here. Don't trigger baby stepping on double. What did I mess up now? Oh, this is the where I still have to wait for the other one to pass. 28399. 28299. Once this one passes, I can pass my fixes up. I hope. I do hope. I got everything. Yeah, this is the one thing, is I have a lot of time in between when I'm waiting for CI checks to pass. Might as well work on something else on the side. Jeez. Touch delay defines. Okay, so I'm thinking. Correct. Okay, where are we at? Got rid of those. Then I guess touch repeat first delay I don't need right now. Definitely wanted to give it to that number 5 at least. Mix touch delay. I think we'll be good after that. Well, you pass, won't you? Oh, only 2 to go. Yeah, I think we're gonna be good. Boop boop booty boop boop. Yeah, I really need to get this together. So let's say 213 this week. What do you say, guys? I know I've got some fixes coming for fixed time motion, but you weren't planning to dive right into that anyway. It's not broken, trust me. It's just the thing we were looking at is this a couple of things. We have this concept of a constant jerk. Not me. It's a different thing altogether. It's about motion starting and stopping stuff, and hopefully will help some of the cornering issues that we always have when, especially in smoothing stuff. But it's I'm not sure what the overall utility will be or why you would choose other, but be there. we're giving you all the shapers. You never know. So I recommend um, giving them all a try. Uh, I will I will definitely go over the shaper tuning tomorrow. I've got a long day. I'm gonna go out in the morning, get my stuff, uh, get my coffee, get my supplies, get set up for the week. Basically, get everything I need. We're down. Weather's been great. So really, it's just gonna be like right every day, staying, keeping alive, dry, staying lively, keep that weird enlightenment feeling going. Maybe it was a stroke. I don't know, but I'm just feeling more. I don't know, just off my shoulders. Checking my funds, they're not great for Marlin right now, just on the edge, but it is enough. If, but it's basically hemorrhaging money to the tune of a couple hundred a month, and I have enough savings to last like a year, assuming things stay stable. But I'd prefer the things to improve. Obviously, I've got a lot of work on them yet to do, and this project is not dead by any stretch. I don't know if you've noticed, but the world is we're always looking for new, efficient, economical ways of doing things, and DIY is definitely being able to build your own ocean system from scratch. Something that is something you got to be able to do, no matter. And we want to have as many choices for boards as possible, and we want you to have the option. Build it when you only have a board and you don't have a Raspberry Pi or one of your printers. You can still build it and run it and have it, be a standalone device. There's no reason for quit or stop working on this thing. There's so much that can be improved, even now, and really improve, not just improve the experience, but just make it fun to work. Okay, I think my pull request is ready for bug fix. So I'm gonna up, and then I'm gonna check David's thing. Double click, yeah. Merge, and that. So it'll pass tests. We like when it passes tests. And good. We do 2829. Cool. Let's merge that. And we'll do that. Refactor UBLG code. And tiny smidge of credit for that because I added my little touch. Put that on there and go. Everyone likes things getting merged. Hold on. You see the stuttering that happens whenever I... What is going on? What is that? Is it done? Alright. There's something going on whenever I merge or something happens across the world. I don't know if it's my browser or there's some intercommunication layer and subspace communications going on. This was another one here. Changes to Scala in Scala. To investigate this closer. I like it. I always like things bringing us closer to Scala and so on. Theta psi, sure. Oh, right. Forgot about this. Custom Scara, right. Where were I? Finish this up and then call it a night. Get back to work. Tomorrow is going to be another big day. Join me then. I really care. Where'd we go? Oh, there it is. Whoop. Yeah, I was gonna say this here. Custom Scara. Custom settings. Okay, maybe I will call it Custom Scar just cause. And it's a little weird when you have. I don't know. Arrange them. Can't decide. It's a little weird. I mean, I'd prefer there to be one setting and set of settings file, just because it's simpler for parsing and figuring out, pulling stuff out for documentation. But okay. Reorder. I guess. Grab buttons and merge. Before I push it, I might as well get the latest. Make sure it's happy. Last thing I want is bugs to creep in and say for pull requests to be failing left, because things that aren't their own fault, they're mine. Okay, here we go. Off we go. Good. Now while that passes, I'm going to take off. I'm thrilled that I got some 3D printing done tonight, and it's just a breeze, a pleasure. I had a couple of issues because my bloody machine, sensorless homing, too touchy. It seems like it's especially touchy. Probably has to do with my acceleration. So I'm going to try reducing my acceleration, other tricks, and look at having a special setting for homing acceleration, since that's something that, it's one of those situations where you're using end stops that could be sensorless, and sensorless end stops are really sensitive if you too high of a jerk or too high of an acceleration. So I want to make sure there's some way to mitigate that, and if it means adding yet another editable setting for that, or configuration option tweaks just this one thing, for so be it. But it's the kind of thing that we just, we want these things to be reliable, and I know that a lot of places that make these machines spend a lot of time really refining these things, dialed in within the tolerances that might have, all kinds of torque and friction situation. So we're trying to make it so it's, tolerable for any kind of situation you might think of. At the one thing that happens, like, oh, use homing when it's standard homing and I get value in it. different motion system. The dynamics are different, and therefore the feel of the thing, the amount of torque it generates, and the signals that are flying out. So, it is what it is. I mean, there may be something about fixed time motion, like its early steps are just always really fast, causes the issue, or don't know. Maybe it's because its jerk works different. Standard motion jerk, can't really say, but there's many avenues to investigate. But in general, the way to mitigate these things is to give you settings that allow you to find some range that it can work in. And the other thing I was working on, automated tuning. It would just move the axis back and forth and look at the stall guard and figure out where the range doesn't stall and where it does stall, that you know, okay, it's to be in. Writing that up and having it be, give me information that sort of track as it's doing it on a live machine, a little challenging. I need better data monitoring for live machine situations. Things like having a live debugger can help, where I can actually look at them through a debugger and have pause and do all that kind of stuff. A little weird to do when you're real motion systems. Too much of that. But I'll figure out some other way. Really want to. Anyway, I should run. I'm just gonna ramble for a while. Anything too interesting to talk about tonight, except, of course, the upcoming new release, where you'll officially be encouraged to try 2.13, and we'll do our best to get 2.13.1 out, bug patches. Hopefully we'll have, hopefully we'll have a lot of reports as a result of a new release and a new tag. Yeah, love to bring everything in for this release, but there's so much we can do in one day. And boy, Vovidroid has been busy. Good job, Thomas. So many things to review. A Mighty Board G. I've been waiting for this to come in. I wonder how that's doing. Take a quick. These are for your MakerBots, as I recall. Or no, maybe those are maker boards. Let's take a look. Real quick. Yeah, Replicator 2 and 2X. Yeah. This is from October. Where are we at now? It's hard to say. Put a checkbox on that. Find myself to come back to it. Yeah, there's a lot to do, but this is cool when we get new hardware, and it doesn't always take all that much. But little checkboxes are all checked off, so that's good. And if this doesn't disrupt other things, I don't mind bringing it, because we'll get a lot more testing on it once it's in there than if we don't have it. I just really need to make sure that everything is non-disruptive. And it looks like it is fairly non-disruptive. I did that. That's swapping RP stuff, so anyone's to blame for that being disruptive, it's me. Mighty Board Rev G. Yeah, I feel good about this. There is an issue with buttons, he says, so I'm gonna get more feedback on that. There are other things I can do, which is, yeah, like here I can decide, oh, I want to use a different, but you can say this instead. Turn this, or do we want this? All right, there we go. Sort of like that. Right? And this sort of thing where it's like, what? Why would you do it that way? Right? Make things a little neater here. These also have to be like this. Just in case they ever get brought out. Go line. What my shortcuts are. Right, these I like these little keyboards. I have one of these flat Apple style. Comes with your I don't know what you call it. It's got the touch button and everything. I got the Mac Ultra Studio, Mac Studio, and it came with a keyboard without this button. Gotta have one with it. You just gotta have the touch. Get it. Because typing your password all the time gets boring. Okay. Yeah. Good. Just cleaning up here. It's worth doing. It's a little okay. Back equal true, otherwise coder negative pulses. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna push this little cleanup. Then I will carry on with my evening. So, hope you're all well. It's good to hang out with you. As always. Clean up. Bug fix. That, and we go. 100 minutes later. Looking good. All right, folks. Yeah, if you can help out the project, please check the links in the description. Like, share, subscribe, do all that. Gonna be talking more about retro stuff, intermingling all these things on the same channel, but I think they all interrelate. You know, we game code, we motion system code, we script, we write plugins. It all goes to the same giant churning machine. Eventually something cool comes out of it, because I'm going to be using these tools, and I'm going to make that bloody Atari game real soon too. Just got to get through this whole slog of the everyday work of working on the Marlin. Then I'll make the fun stuff on the side and keep you all entertained. Something colorful, interesting. Not the 3D print fun, colorful, interesting. I know it is. We love it. All right. Keep going. Keep making stuff. Be creative. Keep the rep rap spirit alive. See you soon.